Chinese regulators ordering Ant Group to refocus its businesses and comply with regulatory requirements there. The People's Bank of China criticizing the company for its behavior towards competitors and consumers, saying that Ant Group, quote, despised complying with regulations. Regulators last month stopped Ant's $37 billion stock debut in Shanghai and in Hong Kong over regulatory changes. And then just days ago, China announced an anti-monopoly investigation of Alibaba Group, which owns a stake in Ant Group. Joining me now, Applico CEO Alex Mozad. And more tough news for Jack Ma as he continues to, or I guess his war with the government seems to be escalating on a business perspective. Where do you see it?
It's that fateful conference speech that he gave October 25th in Shanghai, which really set all these things in motion. He said some not so nice things about the CCP and the financial regulators in China. And boy, I bet he wish he could take those words back right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, what does he do? I mean, he needs to figure out how to work with the Chinese Communist Party. What can he do to heal the divides? Because, I mean, investors around the world, a lot of American investors are invested in these Chinese tech companies.
You know, some people could say that's an oxymoron working with the CCP, Dagan, but there's a lot of things he has to do behind the scenes, frankly, and that's the problem with running a company in a totalitarian communist dictatorship is when the government is mad at you, how do you get back in their good graces? When you figure that out, let me know. It's a very difficult, wall to overcome.
It was worth asking the question. Let's move on to technology and those companies here in this country. Tech giants, including Google, Facebook, are facing more antitrust lawsuits and increased calls for breakups. So, Alex, what do you think is going to happen in 2021 for big tech?
Facebook, Google, and Amazon all have real regulatory risk. That's not new news. I think the concerning thing as an investor is that we've seen the CEOs of these big tech monopolies actually don't have the power to fix their problems around censorship and data abuse. And that's a real problem if the CEOs are effectively powerless to fix these problems.
Yeah, Mitch Rochelle, I mean, we've talked a lot about, obviously, big tech and the hot seat on Capitol Hill, and those problems may not be over for them. Even Mark Zuckerberg seems to kind of acknowledge, he's the only one that says that they do believe changes are coming in how they do business because of issues of censorship.
I think it's interesting. It's almost one of the rare bipartisan issues that we have out there between data privacy and just the sheer size of the monopolies that these companies have. I think both sides of the aisle are troubled by it. I think my prediction, though, is, and you see it with Facebook, the companies are probably going to try to get ahead of this and write the rules, write the regulations that they'll be governed by, as opposed to letting government do it for them.
Alex, what do you make of that?
They have a lot of lobbying power. They've got a lot of money invested into the system. So I don't think you're going to see these companies get broken up. But I do think they have, rightly so, proven that they need some sort of regulatory oversight. Who writes the rules or not, we'll see. But they aren't able to effectively rein in their own problems, as we've seen over the course of this year.
From hate speech to inappropriate content, I agree with you on that. Real quick, Alex, before I let you go, we were talking earlier about home stocks that benefit from the shutdowns and the office closures. Are there any stay-at-home stocks that you're watching next year?
Well, Etsy is hitting all-time highs right now. We saw Slack just get acquired by Salesforce. You've got a lot of these kind of $20 to $50 billion platform marketplace stocks that are really just shining over the past month, where FAMGA, the big tech monopolies, have actually been a little bit more flat. So I think you're going to see it from some of the up and coming platform, these high growth tech stocks over the course of next year that are really going to hit their stride.
All right, like some of those names to watch on our screen right now. Alex Mozad. Alex, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.